Welcome the state television company Western Armenia. Today's broadcast. Regular session of the National Assembly Western Armenia. The Lemkin Institute initiated a signature. Armenians and occupied Western Armenia. Representative of the AU observation mission in Eastern Armenia and the Romanian ambassador visited Syunik region. Gnel Sanosyan presented details about the work carried out in the disaster zone. Years of 451, 1920 and 2020. The film Anora won the Golden Palm Branch Award at the Cannes Festival. On May 29, on the online platform of Skype, the regular session of the National Assembly of Western Armenia was held. Armine, the chairman of the National Council of Western Armenia, made an opening speech at the session, who emphasized the holding of the third convocation of the National Assembly, the second plenary session, and the issues of having position on a number of issues to be discussed. The chairwoman, Sahakyan, presented the issues of the agenda of the session, presenting to the Member of Parliament the question related to the third convocation of the National Assembly of the Western Armenian National Assembly, to be held on June 2, and the Zoom meeting broadcast during the second plenary session, and the completion of the same day's agenda. At the end of the session, a number of agenda and current issues were also discussed. The Lemkin Institute for the Prevention of Genocide has called upon the head of Baku, Ilham Aliyev, to release all Armenian prisoners illegally held in Baku and has started a signature compiled in this regard. The philanthropist and former Minister of State of Artsakh, Ruben Vartyan, was arrested by the government of Baku and is being held illegally along with other prominent Armenians. It's time for Baku President Aliyev to immediately release these Armenians, the message reads. The lack of information about the health and condition of these individuals is said to be deeply concerning. These persons were detained in clear violation of domestic and international law, including the UN and European Human Rights Conventions, to which Baku is a party. The conditions of their detention are deeply troubling, including inadequate contact with their families, lack of regular independent monitoring or consular accesses, and denial of access to local and international lawyers. Baku must respect international legal standards and human rights, on which peace and stability depend. Every day court in the lives of these prisoners. Any peace agreement between Armenia and Baku must include their release. We call on President Ilham Aliyev to immediately release all these illegally arrested persons. Read the message. Armenians in occupied Western Armenia represent a multi-layers community, including Armenian missionaries, Catholics, generation of Muslimized and secret Armenians, Hamshan Armenians, as well as labor migrants who left for Western Armenia from Eastern Armenia. Despite the current complex realities and dangerous trends, the Armenians of Western Armenia, being indigenous people, continue to preserve their identity and potential in scientific, political, economic, culture, and other fields. The main challenges faced by the Armenians of occupied Western Armenia are the assimilation tendencies, the weakening of community institutions, the accumulation related to the return of confiscated church property, the preservation of the Armenian historical and cultural heritage in the case of immigrants from Eastern Armenia, the risk of possible deportation, etc. Despite all this, the Armenians of Western Armenia still have a certain scientific, cultural, economic, and political potential, which can be aimed both at solving the problems of the local Armenians and, in the case of deepening the relation between Western Armenia and the Armenians living abroad, and normalizing the relation between Western Armenia and Eastern Armenia, to promote cooperation between Armenia. The representatives of the observation mission of the European Union in Eastern Armenia and the ambassador of Romania in Eastern Armenia, Colonel Lonescu, visited Kapan Airport as well as Meguri in Agatangeghos communities. This is mentioned in the post-media index microblog of the observation mission. It is an honor to host the ambassador of Romania to Eastern Armenia, His Excellency Colonel Lonescu, at the Syunik airport in the regions of Meguri and Agatangeghos. We thank Romania for its continued support to the European Union's observation mission in Armenia. The note stated. Minister of Territorial Administration and Infrastructures of Armenia, Gnel Sanosyan, present details on the work being carried out in a number of communities, Tavush and Lori regions, which were declared disaster zones due to floods. Minister of Territorial Administration and Infrastructures of Armenia, Gnel Sanosyan, presented details on the work being carried out in a number of communities of Tavush and Lori regions, which were declared disaster zones due to the floods. Yesterday evening, we carried out a division of works in different directions, said the minister, adding that works on the restoration of railway roads, bridges, power transmission lines, gas Pipelines as well as inventory and follow-up supply to residents are being carried out. Sanosyan elaborated that each team is trying to implement the task given to it. He also informed that they are discussing with specialists at Aram station at the possibility of making the station barrage temporarily usable for light passenger vehicles. The government of Eastern Armenia has decided to declare a disaster zone in the communities of Tavush and Lori regions that were affected by floods. On May 26, due to heavy rains, floods occurred in a number of communities in Tavush and Lori regions, causing huge material losses, causing the collapse of roads and barrages. 4 people died as a result of floods. The government has decided to allocate a total of 300 million dirhams to Tavush and Lori regions for solving urgent problems in communities affected by floods. Western Armenia TV continues the subject, the phenomenon of the already seen years 451, 1920 and 2020, where our correspondent presents our national conflicts. In 1920, the Turkish-Armenian War took place, which ended with the defeat of the Armenian side. Observing the events, you come to 2 conclusions. The Armenian side believed too much in the Treaty of Sivers, thinking that either the Kemal Turk will obey the treaty imposed by the West, or else the bloodthirsty West will abandon its affair and rush to protect our interests, and overestimated their military capabilities. Kazim Karabek's troops forced us to sign the Treaty of Alexandropol, which was occupied by the Turks, in 2 months. During the Moscow Treaty of 1921, the Bolsheviks actually secured only part of the Turkish victory, drawing the border of Soviet Armenia along the Nakhchivan and Arax rivers. Now, we would like to say that the Bolsheviks betrayed us, but it ignores an important fact. In Moscow, the Bolsheviks managed to force the Turks south of Alexandropol, now Gyumri, and the Shirak-Pambak regions, which significantly increased the territory of Armenia. The Bolsheviks also fixed Lori, disputed with Georgia, as part of Armenia. One can say, okay, didn't they exert more pressure and demand cars back from the Turks? Maybe the Bolsheviks did do it because by 1921, Soviet Russia was exhausted from the devastating civil war and was not ready to start a new war with the Kemals just for the sake of Armenians. At least we brought Gyumri back. The defeat of 1920 was not caused by another betrayal, but by the fact that the First Republic was a failed state with a weak army, a population slaughtered by Tifats, and Armenian diplomacy once again failed to distinguish dreams from reality, just as Mamikonian diplomacy failed in 451. At the 2024 Cannes Film Festival, the Golden Palm Branch Award was won by the directors in Baker's film Anora, with the participation of Armenian actors Karen Garagulyan and Vache Tomasyan. 22 films competed for the Golden Palm Branch, and the Grand Prix was awarded to director Payal Kapadias and We Imagine Everything as Light, which is the first Indian film to be presented at the Cannes Film Festival in 30 years. The film Emilia Perez, directed by Jacques Andiart, won the jury prize. The Best Actress Award was awarded to 4 people: Adriana Paz, Zoe Saldana, Carla Sofia Cascon, and Selena Gomez, who starred in Emilia Perez; Josep Lemons, who starred in the movie Types of Kindness by Yorgos Lanthimos, was recognized as the best actor. The best director is Miguel Gomez for the film Grand Tour. The best screenplay was awarded to Corelli Fargitin with the film The Substance. The special prize was awarded to the film The Seed of the Sacred Feet, directed by Mohamed Rasulov. This was all for today. Goodbye.